This episode is brought to you by Progressive Insurance. Do you ever think about switching insurance companies to see if you could save some cash? Progressive makes it easy to see if you could save when you bundle your home and auto policies. Try it at progressive.com. Progressive Casualty Insurance Company and Affiliates. Potential savings will vary. Not available in all states.
Hey, I'm Kylee, former NICU travel nurse and founder of Passports and Preemies, and you're listening to Clocked Out, Life Beyond the Bedside. This podcast is for nurses who are ready to ask, what else is out there for me? Each week, we dive into what it means to thrive as a nurse beyond the hospital walls through conversations about burnout, alternative careers, travel, financial freedom, and wellness. Whether you're deep in burnout or just craving more freedom, you're in the right place. It's time to redefine what life after clocking out really looks like. Hello, everyone, and welcome back to Clocked Out, Life Beyond the Bedside. Today's guest is my dad. If you're watching, you can obviously tell. If you're just listening, so my whole speech was like, today's guest is someone that I have looked up to my entire life. My dad, Nick Nelson, MD. And after 4 decades, was it 4 decades?
Yeah, with everything.
Okay, 4 decades in medicine. He has just retired from a career in radiology. But what has always fascinated me most about my dad is not just his resume, but his story, where he came from, how he was raised, from an unusual childhood to medical school to navigating the ever-changing world of healthcare. I wanted to sit down with him and talk about everything and just kind of get a doctor's perspective on healthcare today. So the good, the hard, and what he would do differently if he could do it all over again. So welcome.
Well, thank you. It's my first podcast
You guys,
ever.
also, I've never recorded in person with a guest. So we're like, should we look at each other? Should we look at the screen? I hope there's no weird sound stuff going on, but I guess we'll figure it out. Okay, so I kind of just want to start, and I want you to tell us about your upbringing and how that kind of shaped your path to medicine.
Okay, so I was born in Winter, South Dakota.
Yes.
Which is a small town in south central South Dakota.
How many people?
5,005 bars. My dad was a traveling salesman, so he would leave Monday morning and come back on Friday night. He sold advertising for a local TV station.
Okay.
And my mother worked at the John Deere dealership.
Oh, she did?
Yes, it was the biggest John Deere dealership in the world at one time.
Really?
In Winter, South Dakota. Her
I didn't know
uncle
that.
owned it.
Okay.
Fortunately, it was her uncle and not her father.
Wait, what? Oh, because she didn't get like a
She
cut.
didn't get anything.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
So she got for $4 an hour.
$4 an hour in Winter, South Dakota. Is that pretty good?
No, I think so. So we lived there, and then Dad had a propensity to wander. And so they ended up getting divorced when I was in 2nd grade.
Can you expand on the word wander?
He traveled. He was a good-looking guy with a brand new car every year. He got a brand new Chevrolet every year, and he had a lot of free time on his hands.
Okay. That's good. Okay.
Yeah. And he liked to drink beer.
So they divorced.
They got divorced, and
How old were you?
I was in 2nd grade.
Okay.
So my mom had a sister in Omaha, Nebraska, and that's why we ended up moving to Omaha. So it was kind of a shock.
It was a lot bigger than Winter, South Dakota.
Quite a bit bigger, yes.
So can you tell us maybe how that, maybe a tumultuous upbringing?
Yeah, but you don't know it at the time.
No.
Right? You just know, you're like everybody else on your block. So
Right. But
Dad was never home. So it wasn't like, oh, we're moving someplace else and Roger's not going to be there. It's like, okay.
But do you feel like going through schooling and as you became a teenager, like not having a stable father figure?
Never.
Oh, okay.
Never bothered me. I never knew any different.
Right.
Yeah. So Mom got married again right away, and he was kind of a jerk.
Okay.
So I didn't like him, but he wasn't there long, maybe a year.
Okay. I'm going to lead you a little bit because I know my dad's backstory. So I'm going to lead you. So
Right.
How did you perform in high school?
Well, again, we moved to Omaha. We lived in a basement apartment. My window looked out over the parking lot, and went to a really big high school. So our class was 850 people. So you can imagine coming from a small town. And
Mhm.
I didn't really have, none of my family ever went to college. So it wasn't like you just went, you didn't try to do anything. Pot was really common back then.
Yeah.
So it was very common. We all kind of just smoked pot and hung around and didn't do much with schoolwork per se. I didn't really like anything about school. I didn't dislike it.
But you
I just
didn't
was not interested in it
you
at
didn't
all.
grow up thinking, "Oh, I want to become a doctor."
No, I did. For some reason, I thought maybe I could be a dentist.
Okay.
I
Weird.
don't know why, but I had an uncle that lived in South Dakota, Aunt Dana's husband, who
Okay.
was a doctor.
Okay.
And I remember going to their house to visit, and he had one of these textbooks. I think it was actually just medical dictionary,
Mhm.
but it was like 800 pages. And I thought, wow, nobody could be this smart to do this. So I never thought,
Well, that's
do
the
that.
thing is I know that you almost failed out of high school,
No, I graduated 700, thought 850.
but did you feel like you were
I only
smart?
I only flunked one class.
But do you feel like you were smart and you just didn't try, or like,
I
it's like
yeah, it was
doctors are
never
smart. So how did you go from graduating number 700 out of 850 to
Yeah,
becoming a
when we were in
doctor?
high school, I wasn't very popular. So I found this group of friends that we smoked pot and we all got along, and it was wonderful, actually. I didn't have to compete with it was kind of a rich high school.
Yeah.
We were a block away from going to the poor high school.
Yeah.
So it was fine. I mean, those kids helped me, and I probably was as smart as any of the kids in that group.
So,
I didn't hang around the smart people, so I didn't ever compare myself to them.
but not having anyone in your family that went to college, how did you decide that you wanted to go to college then?
I have no idea. I honestly don't, because I just went to UNO and I thought, well, what else am I gonna
UNO
do?
is the University of
The
Nebraska
local
at
university.
Omaha.
Yeah, local university. I just thought you keep going to school. I didn't know any different. I didn't know what was I going to do. Go get a job somewhere?
What were you studying? Like, what were you majoring in at the time?
Okay, so I did have some exposure to healthcare, because when I was in high school, there was an easy class we could get credit for, and all we had to do is work in a healthcare system.
Okay.
Didn't matter what we did, but we got a credit, 2 credits for the semester. And my homeroom's teacher's husband was Ted Taylor, who was a great guy, and he ran the radiology department.
I can't even remember his name. My dad doesn't know anybody, even my best friends forever. He doesn't know
Well, I
their
figured
names.
nobody can check on me, so it doesn't matter. Anyway, so my homeroom teacher, who I don't know why she liked me. I showed up pretty stoned every morning, homeroom.
He saw something in you.
She must have. She was very nice to me. And I wasn't a bad kid. I was a nice kid.
It honestly goes to show somebody that sees something in you at a young age can really change the trajectory of your life.
Yeah. And I was nice. I mean, I wasn't like mean. I wasn't a stoner. I was just a nice kid that smoked a lot of pot every morning.
So some people would say that's a stoner. He did the radiology department.
Yeah. So I got hired as a weekend, evening, summer job. And I was, must have
Janitor.
been 18.
Were you a janitor?
No, I started out getting patients. Back then, if you were going to get your gallbladder out, you went to the hospital the day earlier. That evening, you got all your lab work and your chest x-ray. You got your surgery the next day, then you'd stay in the hospital for several days.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. And so they need someone to go get the patient and bring it down to radiology for their
Okay.
pre-op x-rays. So I did that, and I was a receptionist for a while. I
Okay.
had really long hair then. I used to accused of being a young lady.
I
for
didn't
all the,
know that.
all the old ladies would say, "Miss, am I in the right place?" And I actually processed film too. So I
Okay.
was worked in the darkroom. That's back before they had
Computers.
computers and everything, right? So you mixed it with all the chemicals and
Oh, weird.
all that.
So
Yeah.
you had some exposure to radiology or
Right.
to medicine,
To
even.
medicine then.
And, growing up, this is what I swear you told me, but I don't know if it's true. I swear, I don't know if I made this up, but how would I have made this up? I swear that you said, oh, I was young working in the hospital and there was just this fat, lazy.
Okay, I got to think.
So it's a
So
true story.
I was, yeah,
Okay.
obviously it's a true story. So I'm trying to think. I must have been a senior in high school. And I thought maybe I should try to be a dentist, because I grew up in a town that had no fluoride in the water. If you want to talk about that, now they're going that way again.
So your
And
teeth are falling out?
No, I would go to the dentist when we moved there, and I would have 13 cavities at a time.
So we need fluoride in the water.
Well, I think so. I think fluoride is helpful in the water, but that's not.
That's not the
But
topic, but we could do a
that's not
different
the
one on that
topic,
if you
but
want.
yeah, you want to talk. I spent a lot of time at the dentist and I had root canals. I had all this stuff done. And I thought, well, this looks like a job maybe I could do. I'll be a senior in high school. I thought I'll be a dentist. I'll go to school for that. I never thought anything about getting grades because you automatically got into UNO. There was no, as long
Okay.
as you paid your
It
tuition.
wasn't like competitive at
It
that
was a
point.
commuter college.
Okay.
Yeah, it was a
Okay.
commuter college. They didn't say no to anybody.
Okay.
So I'm working one evening and I'm working hard. I've always worked hard. And I just maybe, I don't know why, I've always been a hard worker. So I got a lot of patients on. I'd get 5 or 6 patients and bring them down at times. Sometimes they'd be on a cart, sometimes in a wheelchair. Most of them would walk, obviously. And I would bring them down, but I couldn't take them back up and get the next group of people until they had their chest x-ray. And then the radiology resident, which is a radiologist in training, looked at the x-rays to make sure they were taken properly. And then I could take them back up. And so there was one of these radiology residents. I actually remember his name, but of course I don't want to get sued, so I'm not going to say his name. One of 2 brothers. He was a resident that night.
Is he
and
still alive?
I don't know.
Oh, okay.
And in our department, we had a waiting room for the patients, probably 8 or 10 seats. And then we had a TV up in the corner. So in the evening, the residents sometimes would watch old TV if they weren't busy. So this guy's out there. It's December. It's cold. He's got his scrubs on and he's got sandals on with black socks, thinking, wow, even I know that's a faux pas fashion thing. And he wouldn't get out of his seat to go look at the x-rays. So he wouldn't get up. He was watching some sitcom or some movie. And I had to sit there till the commercial came before he would get up and do his job. And I'm thinking, I got all these patients to come down. I want to get this done. Get your fat butt up and do your job. And I just got so upset. I just started looking at him and I thought, it can't be that hard to be a radiologist. I mean, if this guy made it, he's a lazy. Anyway, he never passed his boards, if that's any.
He didn't? How do you know that?
Well, I mean, for years he didn't.
Okay.
Yeah, he never passed. His brother did, but he didn't. Then I decided, well, let me try radiology.
Okay. And how old are you at this point?
I think I was a senior in high school then.
Okay.
So I knew I had to go to college, obviously.
Right.
And
So I do want to fast forward a little bit. I know that you didn't get into medical school.
yeah, I did.
No, you were waitlisted.
Right, but I got in.
Well, he got in, he was waitlisted. The point is that you had a successful career in radiology, even though you're waitlisted. And I think that the whole purpose is to inspire people that maybe have some roadblocks along the way to continue.
No, I think the more important aspect of that story is, so I ended up going to a commuter college. So a local college. You don't have to go to Harvard or Dartmouth to get into medical school. If you do well in college, you do well. And so I did well in college, but it was a pretty easy college because they graded everything on a curve because a lot of people did classes after work.
Oh, really?
Yeah, the college was really good. I owe almost everything to this UNO, University of Nebraska in Omaha, because they prepped me for my tests and they prepped me for medical school interviews and everything. And I made the mistake of telling a athletic director at UNO, it was at a restaurant we were sitting around talking. He was talking that he was at UNO, and I started thinking about it. Oh, if I went to any college or UNO, I never would have got into medical school because they were so good.
Mm-hmm.
Unfortunately, I told him that. So now I'm getting all these letters asking for money. I had like 3 beers. I'm going, yeah, UNO, I just wouldn't be where I'm at today if it wasn't for UNO. He's a big smile on his face. Can I get your contact information?
So when you were in medical school, was it difficult for you or did you have an easy time? Like, I'm trying to gauge at this point how your upbringing, because, you did have a brother that I don't know if you would say he was smart or not, but he didn't excel in the same ways that you did. And I'm curious, was medical school really challenging? Did you end up graduating with high grades or?
So in medical school, it was very, very challenging. And I've told you this before. I don't think I'm the smartest guy around.
No.
I did well at UNO. I had a 3.6 or 3.7 average, so not even that great. For the MCATs, I studied 12 hours a day for 3 months and did over 50th percentile. I had the connection with radiology.
But also, you said you almost walked out of your MCAT and didn't go back because it wasn't
so
going well.
hard, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. In fact, I went across the street, bought a 6-pack of beer and
Hey,
drink it. I was just going to go home and quit. And I went back.
Because you had a break. So the MCAT's what, 8 hours?
Yeah, something like
So
that.
they had a 4-hour break. And when they were on their break, I guess,
thought this was
bought
ridiculous.
a pack of beer.
It was so hard. It was so hard.
Okay,
Yeah.
so you're in school and you are graduating from medical school.
Yeah.
You do your residency.
But let me tell you again about
Okay.
medical school. It
Yeah.
was very difficult because I wasn't the smartest guy. I've got a really good friend now. I remember that first year, I probably studied 4 to 5 hours a night, almost every night. And I was very disciplined, unlike high school. And John Peterson, he was probably top 2 or 3 in the whole class. And he would just watch Cubs all day and I didn't even know we had a note service. He would just do the notes and he got A's on everything. So I got a D on my first embryology test and I just cried. I probably did cry. And I thought, I got to really buckle down. So I had to really study to get through.
Yeah.
But I got an award for the last 2 years. The first 2 years you get they call it AOA, Alpha Omega Alpha Award. So the first 2 years you get it if you're the smartest people.
Okay.
The last 2 years you get it if you're the hardest worker.
Oh.
So the last 2 years you get nominated by your professors.
And you got it?
Yeah.
Wait, that's so cool. I didn't know that.
Yeah, because you just work hard,
Yeah, but
I've
that's
always
awesome.
worked hard.
Yeah.
So you do what you're told and you don't have to be the smartest.
And we've talked a lot. I do want to kind of progress into your fellowship because this is something that my dad has taught me a lot. And it's probably one of the best lessons
Yes.
you've imparted on me. There's 2 lessons, you guys. Number 1, and if you listen to the money episode, you're going to be surprised by this. But number 1 was when you and Mom, I wanted to buy an American Girl doll. And at the time they were $80, which was very expensive. And you guys said, if you want an American Girl doll, you have to work and save your own money. And you opened a savings account when I don't know how old I was. I had to have been like 10 years old. And once I earned the $80, I did not want to spend it. And ever since that age, I had a savings account.
Yeah.
Number 2 is this lesson we're going to get into. So my dad basically graduates medical school, does his residency in radiology. And then you say, why did you decide? Can you tell us what a fellowship is and why you decided you needed to go to more school?
So a fellowship is an additional training after residency in radiology, and it's a way to specialize in certain portions of radiology. But
it's not just radiology. Any specialty
either.
can do a fellowship.
Right. And almost everybody does nowadays. Hardly anybody just goes in without a fellowship.
Okay.
And fellowships aren't very long. Mine was only a year. Some are longer.
Okay.
Are you trying to get into this thing about
why you got this fellowship? Yes.
This is important.
This is important. This is the best lesson.
One of the books I made my boys read, and I don't know if I made you
Probably
read
not.
or not. It was a book called
How to Win Friends and Influence People.
How to Win Friends and Influence People. Did you read it?
No, but it's literally been on my to-read list for years.
Well, it's probably too late now, but
I still have the book.
I know it is one of the best books I've ever read in my life because it basically talks about if you want to influence people, the best way to do it is to find common interests and find their interests, because almost everybody thinks that the most interesting thing in the world is themselves. And so this book went through all that, and I thought it was just fascinating, and it should be common reading for everybody. So the first time I read the book, I'm driving to Winter, South Dakota with my dad. By that time, he quit selling advertising because he knew he was going to die from alcoholism. So he started a farm. He started farming. He didn't start a farm. He started farming. He was very poor. He had no money. It was horrible. I mean, it was really bad. We'd go out there, we'd spend the summers, and it was, mice on the floor and all that. And anyway, so I read the book. We're driving to Winter to get some farm equipment. And I think when I read the book, I thought, yeah, Dad, tell me about your life. And by the time we got to Winter, not only I was fascinated by his life, which I didn't know, I got a new motorcycle. Yeah.
I didn't know that.
Yeah, I got a big old Kawasaki 750 3-cylinder 2-cycle with a fairing and an 8-track.
Well, so since we're talking about your life right now, what am I going to get after this podcast?
You don't even know about my life. You never asked me. Kidding. I just kidding.
True. I'm asking right now.
Kidding. When I wanted to get into this, dovetails into a couple things. One, I was interviewing in radiology in Omaha, and Dr. Dobry was interviewing me. He was always known as just a hard ass. I mean, everybody was afraid of him. He would take films and throw them and yell at the techs and stuff. But I was in his office interviewing, and I noticed a picture of him in a flight jacket. And I just said, I didn't know you served. Boy, half hour later, I didn't have to say 3 more words, and I was in. And so the same thing. Then I did a fellowship in San Francisco, which was hard to get into. I don't think they took anybody from the Midwest ever.
Yeah.
I really don't.
He was at UCSF, which was like a really high-tiered
radiology
really program. And he didn't graduate with shining grades
in residency, you don't get grades.
Right.
You just get recommendations. I get good recommendations. And anyway, same thing. I go in there and we start talking, and I love this guy. But I saw a picture of him and his family. And I said, oh, you got 3 kids. And same thing. An hour later, I'd said 3 more words and I was in.
Yeah. So you've taught me, number one, that people's stories are really interesting. And I think that
mostly are, right?
They are. Yes. And I do think I think that I am very good with meeting new people. And I think I revert every time back to, if the conversation is at a standstill or whatever, just ask about them.
Right.
Yeah.
And I've learned a lot of fascinating things about people. Occasionally it's the opposite too. You just get bored out of it.
Oh yeah. There's some people you're like, I'm never talking to them again.
Exactly.
But Julian, my husband's French, and French people do not go deep in the beginning, and they do not ask questions about other people. Like, they sense that as being rude. And I have told him over and over, when you're interviewing, I think when you're trying to sell something, it's so important to ask about them. And he's started, and he's said that he can tell he's gaining traction in his work and stuff he knows a lot about his coworkers, and he says like, oh, they don't know anything about me, but he's fine with that.
Right. When you start doing that more often and delving into that, you often come back with that impression. My wife all the time, she goes, we talked for an hour and a half. She didn't know a thing about me.
Yeah.
Yeah. You notice it.
Yeah.
Because you want it to be a two-way street, because again, we're all the most interesting people we know.
Right. And every time I ask someone a question, it's like 50% of the time I asked it because I want them to ask me.
Yeah.
Like,
That's a good point.
Where do you like to travel to? And they're like, go off. And then they don't ask me. And I'm like, why do you think I asked you that question? So the point is, as nurses, if there's something you're interviewing for that you really want, if you don't feel qualified, it's not true. You're always qualified enough.
Oh my gosh. I tell you, almost everything in my life has been on the job training.
Yeah.
I know you have to get through the hurdles.
Yes.
You got to get into school. You got to graduate.
You got to pass
the test. You got to get the job. But it's book learning is not the same as working a job.
Yeah. So you are qualified. Maybe you're just not asking the right question.
And maybe you're good at other things. Like I was really good with people. So I was good with interactions and things. So like a nurse, I mean, that's so critical.
Yeah.
Being a great nurse. I mean, I've been a patient a few times, and being a great nurse, you can just tell, you're happy to see it.
You feel relieved.
They're positive.
Mm-hmm.
They're efficient.
Yeah. Yeah. So you graduate from your fellowship at UCSF, and you unfortunately decide. I was already born at this point, so I was living in San Francisco. Yeah,
both in your sister.
They decide to move back to Omaha, Nebraska. I always think, because you got a job in San Diego.
I had a job opportunity in San Diego.
And so I literally always think, what would my life... I'm so happy how everything has turned out, but I always thought, what would it have been like if I grew up in San Diego instead of Omaha?
One of my what ifs too.
Yeah.
What if we would have... But my wife had family in Omaha. I didn't have any family, but she did. So that's why we came back.
What do you think in your career was your proudest professional moment?
So I pre-read these questions because I thought I didn't know what to say. But then I got to thinking about this.
He gets so worried.
This is actually, I thought about this.
So, I kind of think I know what you're going to say.
No, you don't.
Yes, I do. Yeah, well, I knew about the book, How to Win Friends and Influence People.
Okay. All right. So when I did my fellowship, I specialized in ultrasound, and at the UCSF, they did a lot of prenatal abnormalities. So congenital anomalies. So we would ultrasound these babies in utero and assess their anomalies.
I do know what you're going to say.
And we saw a couple anomalies a day. It was really busy. In regular practice, you see 1 or 2 a year. but we were very busy, and they had a program there where they did intrauterine surgery to try to fix some of these babies, some of these fetuses. And so it was really fun, and he learned a ton. So when I came back to Omaha, there were no perinatologists and no neonatologists. There might have been perinatologists. So there were no neonatologists in Omaha when I came back 30 years ago.
Crazy.
Yeah. And so I was the ultrasound / neonatology person. So there was a patient we used to do a trap route in some of these smaller.
Just so you know, I do know.
Okay. Some of these smaller towns. And this lady in West Point, Nebraska, her baby had, what was it? It was a gastroschisis. So it's a defect of the anterior abdominal wall where the intestines kind of hang out in the amniotic fluid. And it looks bad, and there's a lot of potential complications. I scanned her out there, and then she came to see one of the doctors, Dr. Martin, in Omaha.
That's who delivered me.
Yeah. And so, I was there, and I kind of counseled her on the abnormality, and I reassured her that it was surgically repairable and that potentially would have no long-term consequences. And that was all fine. And then like 18 years later, I get this card. It was just so sweet. It was her graduation picture and card, and showing me her as a baby and then her now. It was
That's
so sweet of the
cute.
parents.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay,
Yeah,
actually,
like the mom.
that's
Is that
not
what
what
you
no, I thought you were going to say but it was, I think you were at Methodist, and tech came in and was like, oh, this weird thing on ultrasound. And right away you knew she was bleeding, ruptured. She was pregnant.
Okay.
Do you know what I'm talking about?
I don't remember that. I mean, we had a lot of those kind of things.
But they came in so casually, and the person did not know that it was what's the word? Not rupture.
Premature rupture.
No, when you're
Short
bleeding, when you can die really fast. When the uterus tears away from the or the
subchorionic
placenta.
capsule.
Okay, whatever. But I thought that's what you were going to say.
I just about cried when I got that card, though. And
That's
she just said, thank you, just thanking me for that time. And at the time, I didn't think twice about it. You just, it's your job, you go home, it meant a lot to her.
Yeah.
Yeah. And it's sweet that she remembered me that much later.
I took care of a patient in Arizona, and the family was on vacation from California. And the woman was 25 weeks and delivered in her hotel room bed.
Oh, no.
Yeah. And actually her husband wasn't there. She was alone. She was visiting family in Arizona. And the firefighters came, and I don't remember anyone saying there's paramedics there, just firefighters. And anyways, the baby came to the hospital, and they were split up. She was at a different hospital. The baby was in a different hospital. She had so many problems. I ended up calling the unit she was on and talking to her nurse and the charge nurse, and basically threatening them because they weren't letting her pump.
Oh, wow.
There's like a lot of screwed up things about this situation. And I really was an advocate for the baby and the mom, because she obviously was really struggling after this. And then they found out this baby had, I think, schizencephaly.
Oh.
Something bad.
So bad.
Yeah. And I took care of them maybe 1 or 2 months, but my contract ended. And they wrote me the nicest letter. I didn't understand how much I impacted them.
Right.
Yeah. I knew they liked me.
Yeah.
But I never knew how much I think I meant to them at that time.
Yeah. So that goes to my advice for all my techs. And I think it's relevant for nursing and all healthcare. So ultrasound techs, they go in and they scan the patient, and they don't have much. Nowadays, they don't have almost zero input from physicians. So it's their job to look for things, to know what's going on, to do a good job. And one thing they would sometimes ask me, should I do this? Do I need to do another test here? Do I need to call somebody? And so I always said, just put yourself in the patient's skin and always do what's best for the patient. Never worry about if the bosses are mad because you got another test that you thought was necessary and maybe it wasn't ordered correctly or something. Always do what's best for the patient, and just whatever the consequences are from administration, basically.
But that's easy to say as the doctor.
I know.
I do think
As a nurse, I think that's true too.
it is. It is. There's not
Yeah.
a lot of nurses that will just willingly defy orders or like choose to. I mean, you cannot
I know.
technically order something yourself.
Right,
But
right.
I do think that growing up with you and you having this kind of attitude towards others in the healthcare profession, I think that made me a good nurse because I was never the one that was like, well, you have to put the order in before I can do that. I always was just kind of like, okay, yes, or I know this is what he meant, she meant, this is what I will do, and then figured it out later. And I never got in trouble, but there's a lot of people that do not feel
Right. They won't
comfortable
take
doing
the
that.
risk.
Right.
I'm talking about simple things like, should I do an endovaginal study to look at cervical length if I'm not sure?
Yeah.
Transabdominally,
Yes. Simple.
simple things like that.
Hindsight's 2020. Would you have done anything differently?
I don't think so. That's so difficult because I got 4 kids now. And if I would have done things differently, would I have, if we would have moved to San Diego, would we have had 2 more kids?
Yeah.
Maybe not. I don't know.
Yeah.
I do kind of regret because I had no ties to Omaha. Omaha was good to us financially, but
Mhm.
it's not the most exciting place. We're in Seattle today, and I love this area.
Yeah.
And you live in Paris. I mean, yeah, all the kids took off.
We all grew up in Omaha. We're like, see you later.
Bye-bye.
Sayonara.
We're stuck with a big house that we keep building onto. Anyway,
So you recently retired. Was it 1 year ago or has it been
a year ago,
longer?
June.
Just about over a year ago. Was it hard to let your identity as a physician go?
Not really. You definitely lose some respect.
Mhm.
So when you're in the hospital, you do get sometimes undeserved respect, and which is not as much as it was 20, 30 years ago, but still some. So you lose that right away, I think. Otherwise, I don't know. I just was so tired of the job. I'm just glad I'm out.
I mean, the respect thing, I have heard you say, yeah, you felt like you were at a high level in your job and now you're like basically a nobody at all.
Yeah. Yeah. My wife's going to buy me a shirt that says, I'm not homeless. I'm retired.
Okay. That's
Just a reflection of how I'm dressing now, I guess.
What has your career in medicine taught you about success and fulfillment?
I don't know. That's impossible to answer. I guess what we talked about earlier, that success is relevant. You don't have to be the smartest person in the world, and you don't have to go to the greatest university, and you don't actually have to be a physician or anything. There's so many fulfilling things in life that define success.
Mhm.
And she made me not talk about church or anything, so I won't go into that in
You
terms
can
of
if you want. I didn't really feel like it was relevant to like
I mean, the other parts of your life.
medicine, but if you want to talk about
The
it.
other things. Well, you asked about fulfillment. So it's not
Yeah.
just, you shouldn't get
Well,
all
no,
your
that's
fulfillment from work anyway.
100%. Yeah.
Yeah, that should be
Tell
a
us-
little part of fulfillment. I mean,
yeah, so
friends.
tell us about
Friends
your
should be
should.
friends and faith.
Yeah.
Family, friends, faith. And then you're,
But I don't think that
I think people are blessed that they can get a lot of fulfillment out of their job.
yeah,
think
but
it's
it's not like the
difficult.
end all be all. And I feel like I stress this all the time is like, you need to find your identity outside of nursing
Amen.
and
Amen.
figure out what makes you happy and excited that is not
Right.
your career. Because being a nurse should not and does not define you.
Yeah.
And just like being a doctor, it's like doctors obviously are held to like, I mean, especially surgeons, they're like gods. I mean, every nurse can tell the surgeon that does think they're God because they treat you like shit, even though you've always told me everyone puts on their pants the same way every day in the morning. But then you can tell the doctors that are like have a life outside of medicine because they treat you like a normal human being.
Right.
And yeah,
That's great advice because as a physician, I've always strived to treat all my techs nice. I don't believe in this getting mad and throwing things and
Yeah.
just because you're a higher rank.
yeah. I've worked with
Yeah.
a lot of doctors.
know.
I just look at them and I just think like,
Surgeons are famous for.
God, I just want to fucking smack you up the side of the head so bad, you
Yeah.
freaking
Well,
loser.
even some of my partners.
Yeah.
And they don't really, you're right. They don't have much outside of
Yeah.
radiology. They can get mad and it doesn't accomplish anything. Nobody wants,
Yeah.
I mean, I don't know. Everybody makes mistakes too.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
But
So I don't,
some
I don't
doctors
get
like
mad.
to act like they've never made a mistake.
Yeah. Well, that's my lawyer.
I'm glad you said that all because I don't think you really talked about like, I mean, you talked about it, but you grew up very, 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 very dirt poor. They went out to
Yeah.
dinner once a year to McDonald's. And then it's like you have all this success and money as a physician, but that's not, I'm glad that you did not say that's what fulfills you. It's other things outside of money and the respect of being a doctor. And
well, I always said money gave us the opportunity to travel a lot as you were growing up.
Yeah.
And so that was always something I enjoyed. And those are memories that I still cherish. And that money is all well spent. And I love that you're doing something to make travel more accessible to people.
Yeah.
And you don't have to spend $1 million anytime.
But it is true. The first big solo trip I did was 5 months, and I spent about $17,000. And I've never, ever, ever looked at my bank account and said, oh, I wish I had $17,000 right now, like versus those memories.
Yeah, you can spend it on a Hermes handbag or something. Is that a thing? Was it Hermes?
I think it's turned to Hermes, and it would have been Chanel, but yes. Okay.
And then what do you got? Right.
Well, maybe after this podcast, I'll get a Chanel bag from you.
Yeah.
What is something that you have learned from the techs and nurses that you've worked with?
I think we've pretty much covered it. Everybody's a human being. Most people are trying to do a good job, and you just try to work together, support each other, give compliments out freely, both ways. And that's what makes life fun. I loved my techs. I loved talking to them. And then I got old enough where they thought I had some wisdom, and they would come to me with some of their family issues and stuff. And it was fun to, chat. Yeah. It was always fun to chat. And I still consider some of them my friends.
Yeah.
Yeah. They're pretty young, but.
Yeah. So now that you're near the end of your life, what's the legacy you hope to leave behind?
My kids, obviously. I mean, what else I got? I've got nothing else. I mean, maybe one generation.
Yeah.
You'd have some grandkids, maybe they would remember me, but what else is there? I mean, seriously.
Yeah, I guess.
Yeah, there's nothing.
Yeah.
Yeah. Wait, what do I can ask my favorite place to travel to? I just saw that question.
Okay. Well, that's not how this works.
Oh, shoot.
I have like 3 questions for the travel question. Save time to think about it.
Okay.
When you were still working.
I don't know what clocking out is. What's that mean?
Oh my gosh. When you would leave work, when you were still working as a radiologist, you still had meaning to your life and you left work. And what did clocking out look like to you?
Like leaving work?
Okay,
like retiring.
We're skipping this one.
Well, I tell you, retiring was awesome.
Okay. That wasn't the question, but yes. Okay. So in 5 years, Dad, the last 2 questions are questions that I ask every guest.
Okay.
In 5 years, what is your dream life look like?
I think pretty much like today, I want to keep active. I want to be able to ride my bike, work out. I want to stay relevant in my community. I want to keep my friends, play golf, travel. Keep saying I want to volunteer more, but that hasn't really came to fruition.
Yeah.
Be involved in the church, and
I'm surprised.
I don't see things much different. I don't have any big plans now. I've done everything on my bucket list I've done except visit Grand Canyon.
And go to Norway and Japan.
Yeah, I wouldn't mind doing that.
But also, it is different because you're older. So I think, staying active, like those are the important things in 5 years. It's no longer, I want to excel in my career. I want to do this. I want to do that. It just goes to show you guys when we're all older, we just want health and family. And I'm surprised you didn't say, and more grandkids running around.
Oh, yeah, the one's hard enough, but.
Okay.
No, of course we do.
What's your favorite place to travel to?
All my favorite places have always been with my family. So even though we had a little issues
How lame is that?
on that Banff, Canada.
Okay.
That one morning you made us get up and we all about to kill you.
Okay, so we were in Banff, Canada, and we were at Moraine Lake. And if you don't know Moraine Lake, you should look it up right now. And what I'm about to tell you, the rules are different now, so it doesn't apply anymore. Like, you're not allowed to park there anymore.
Okay.
So I knew that this lake was the most beautiful at sunrise and that it gets really crowded as the day goes on. So I said, I think the sun rose at 5:30-ish. So I was like, okay, we were an hour away. And I said, we're getting up at 3:30 because I want to get there by 4:30. I want to get my spot.
Yeah.
For my picture.
Right.
That was the first picture I ever took and went viral. Anyways, so everyone hated me. and screaming in the car at me. But by the end, so we did the lake and we did a hike.
And the parking lot was full.
It was
Even that
completely
early,
full.
but we
Completely.
and
People
even
spent the night before it.
so
We had to park a mile away down there.
but we found a place to park. Otherwise, you have to park 10 miles away from the bus.
Yes.
It's horrible.
And bus in with everyone.
Yeah.
And we hiked. And when we came down after the hike, I mean, hundreds of people. And everyone said, I'm so glad you made us do that.
I know. That was a fun trip. That Singapore trip was fun.
Yeah.
And
My parents visited me in Singapore and Thailand when I did my 5-month solo trip and my mom got dengue fever.
Yeah. And then we did a catamaran in the Caribbean.
That was fun. That was
fun because there was no cell phones. And so we were just a family and kind of close quarters.
Yeah.
And a lot of booze. But we all got along well.
Okay. Did you learn anything from this podcast? You're supposed to ask me the question I asked you. So what's your
favorite place to travel to?
Wow, I'm so glad you asked. Nobody's ever asked me that. Okay. Well, if I have to think about it, I would have to say Georgia, the country.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Oh, interesting.
I want to do a nursing trip there. But I've been polling people that come to France and everyone's like, well, I don't know anything about it. And I'm like,
Either.
Yeah, but like,
just
why don't you just trust me and come with me and then you'll learn about it. I have them rank what would you be most excited about. And it's never high because people don't know about it. So I don't want to actively plan it if it's not the highest on the list.
Right.
Anyways, so that's it.
Oh, well, thank you for having me on your podcast.
You guys, he really wanted to do this in the evening when we were drinking wine, but every evening, I think we've already been too drunk to do it. So we had to do it in the morning and now we're going to go out and eat.
Yes.
So thanks for tuning in and see you guys next week.
Bye.
Bye. Thanks so much for tuning in to Clocked Out, Life Beyond the Bedside. If today's episode resonated with you, I'd love it if you could take a moment to subscribe, leave a review, and share this episode with a fellow nurse who needs to hear it. For more on thriving beyond the bedside, make sure to follow along on Instagram and check out Passports and Preemies, where we talk travel, wellness, and building a life that works for you.
Hi, I'm Chris Gethard, and I'm very excited to tell you about Beautiful Anonymous, a podcast where I talk to random people on the phone. I tweet out a phone number, thousands of people try to call. You talk to one of them, they stay anonymous. I can't hang up. That's all the rules. I never know what's going to happen. We get serious ones. I've talked with meth dealers on their way to prison. I've talked to people who survived mass shootings. Crazy funny ones. I talked to a guy with a goose laugh, somebody who dresses up as a pirate on the weekends. I never know what's going to happen. It's a great show. Subscribe today, Beautiful Anonymous.